Good afternoon. I'm Prosecutor Grace McCauley. I'm joined here today by Gloucester Township Police Chief David Harkins. We're here to announce charges in a heartbreaking case involving a Gloucester Township man and woman who for years confined and abused a child who lived in their home. On Saturday, May 10th, the Camden County Prosecutor's Office Special Victims Unit and the Gloucester Township Police Department learned that an 18-year-old female victim had been held captive and sexually abused in her home for years. During our investigation, the victim advised that 38-year-old Brenda Spencer and 41-year-old Branndon Mosley had been abusing her since approximately 2018, and that shortly thereafter, at Brenda Spencer's direction, she was removed from school prior to entering the 7th grade and confined to her home, which helped to hide the heinous, years-long torture that she suffered. The victim stated that she was forced to live in a dog crate for approximately 1 year and let out only periodically. The victim also advised that she was later forced to live in a padlocked bathroom while being chained up. She stated that she would be let out of the bathroom only when family visited the residence. At other times, she was forced to live in a bare room with just a bucket to use instead of a toilet. She explained the bare room had an alarm system that would alert the defendants, Branndon Mosley, and Brenda Spencer if she tried to leave. She reported she was beaten with a belt and sexually abused by Mosley. The abuse occurred for years until she escaped the residence on Thursday, May 8th. She was assisted by a neighbor. She later disclosed the abuse, which was reported to law enforcement. What this young woman survived was absolutely horrific. After speaking with the victim, our detectives searched the residence and found that the victim was subjected to living in squalid, filthy conditions alongside numerous animals, dogs, chinchillas, and other animals. Detectives also learned that a 13-year-old young female who lived in the home was also removed from school years earlier at Spencer's direction. Both girls were allegedly homeschooled. For homeschooling in New Jersey, parents are only required to notify the school district of their intent to homeschool. There is no requirements by the New Jersey Department of Education to follow up or to confirm attendance records, minimum instructional time, subjects, or testing. Homeschooling may be the right choice for many families. Unfortunately, it can be used by others as a means to hide abuse. In this case, both Spencer and Mosley were charged on Sunday, May 11th with the following charges. 1 count of first-degree kidnapping, 1 count of second-degree conspiracy to commit kidnapping, 1 count of second-degree aggravated assault, 5 counts of second-degree endangering the welfare of a child through abuse and neglect, 1 count of third-degree criminal restraint, 1 count of third-degree aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count of third-degree possession of a weapon for unlawful purpose, 1 count of fourth-degree unlawful possession of a weapon. Mosley was also charged with the additional offenses: 2 counts of first-degree aggravated sexual assault, 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault, 1 count of second-degree endangering the welfare of a child by sexual contact. On Sunday, May 11th, Spencer and Mosley were both taken into custody at the residence in Gloucester Township. Both were remanded to the Camden County Correctional Facility. Their detentions are scheduled for this Friday, May 16th at 9 a.m. in Superior Court.
Prosecutor, can you talk about the escape and how lucky this teenager is to be out of this situation now, and what that escape was like, and how lucky they were that a neighbor was involved?
She was extremely fortunate, extremely fortunate. At this time, we're not disclosing all the details. More details will be forthcoming at the detention hearing on Friday.
Prosecutor, are you able to explain the relation between this victim and the 2 individuals who've been charged?
Yes. The female is the mother. The male is stepfather.
Is the female the mother of both the
Yes.
young girls. Another question just about the timeline leading up to police being involved.
Yes.
I don't know if the chief wants to speak on this. I talked to the person that was assisting her, the neighbor, and he said that he called 211 first for crisis intervention, then called 911 on Thursday, and police did not assist him at the Wawa. And instead, he had to bring the 18-year-old girl to a rehab facility, ultimately one that had some affiliation with Jefferson in South Jersey. Are you able to confirm any of those details at all?
Certainly.
Or when police contact was made?
So, first I'll say this is one of the most despicable cases that I've ever run across. We were first notified by this individual who had the girl on that Thursday evening. Police did respond. They responded and spoke with the girl, took statement information. However, she did not disclose all of this abuse that was later. It was reported to us that it was a domestic violence type of situation. However, she did not want to disclose all this information. She did not disclose this information about being held to this level. We did send officers to the house. The house went at that time on Thursday evening. An investigation was conducted. However, we're limited on the amount of area that we can go and search and whatnot. And without a corroborating victim, there's only so much we could do. We offered her services. We gave her some resources at that time. She was looking for homeless services. However, she was going to stay with this neighbor that was assisting. But that all built up into the case that we're here for today. So while we did investigate and we're looking at everything, believe me, we always want to see that we missed something. This case has been thoroughly reviewed. No information to this level was disclosed to us until that Saturday when they called the police again, which led us to where we are today.
What happened on May 8th that precipitated the victim into wanting to escape?
Yeah, I can't get into the details of how that happened that night. Further details will be related at the detention hearing and further procedures. But that evening, she was at a Wawa with a subject. That's where we initially responded to. We spoke to officers, spoke to her that night. Other officers responded to the residents to conduct an investigation. She was offered domestic violence services, which she declined at that time, and the investigation was turned over for follow-up. But again, she did not pursue. We offered her the services. She did not indicate the level of abuse that was. We later found out when we were called again on Saturday night.
Were you able to say exactly how she escaped?
After escaping the house?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How did the victim come into contact with the neighbor after escaping the house?
Yeah, I don't have those details, and I don't believe we're ready to release that information.
Can you describe the health and mental well-being of this 18-year-old and her 13-year-old sister? 7 years of being held captive? What does that do? Was there any malnutrition? Was there any signs of being weakened and the mental capacity of these two individuals? And how many and what types of dogs did you find? What was the breed of the dogs?
As you can imagine, anyone who's been confined for a period of 7 years, held in these conditions, living in squalid filth, is going to be damaged psychologically, physically, emotionally, mentally. And as you also can appreciate, when it comes to cases involving child endangerment and child abuse and sexual assault, confidentiality to protect the victims is paramount. So we're limited in all the details. More details will absolutely be forthcoming at the detention hearing.
And what type of dogs and how many dogs did you find?
I don't know the exact, but I do know there were some Great Danes, large dogs, and there was some pet equipment and stuff like that was around that was for that type of breed. Large dogs, though.
What's
So
the
how big
status
was
of
the
the
cage
13-year-old
that
sister?
she said she lived in?
Both children are safe right now.
Can you reveal details about the size of the cage that this victim says she was kept in?
Yeah, like I said, it was for a Great Dane, so I don't have the exact measurements, but they were large enough to fit a Great Dane, which we know is a large breed of dog.
And I'm sorry if you already said this and I missed it, but did she give details about exactly how she escaped? Did she climb out of a window? Did she break out?
No, we're not, I don't believe we're ready to release those details at this time.
So when you said held captive for approximately 7 years or so, was there any exiting of the house? Were they living any bit of a normal life, going to anything outside of the home?
The children are you
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah.
Not that we're aware of, no.
So they were just there for 7 years inside that house?
Confined, yes.
Are there any plans to try to change the laws or rules on homeschooling and reporting these kinds of incidents, or what can be done?
Well, clearly there are flaws in the current educational system. This has been the law in the state of New Jersey for decades. That really is outside of our purview because it's not criminal law, but certainly this case proves there's need to revamp and revisit those laws.
Had there been any prior complaints from neighbors about this residence in this township?
There was not.
And how long
Add
have
to
they
that?
lived?
Like,
If you
it-
can.
So we had no indication anything about any child abuse. We've had some, we had some animal complaints in the past, but nothing to this level, nothing, no domestic violence types calls that we are aware of. But just barking dogs, which were handled. Again, they were found to be legal and not charged, but those, we've had some animal complaints from neighbors and whatnot.
Do you know how long they lived at the residence for, or they've lived there?
I do not.
Definitely since 2019. Prior to that, I don't have information at this time, but definitely since 2019.
Not seeing a teenager for years, was there any inquiry by family members, anyone officially or not, where is this girl? She's just seemed to be non-existent for 7 years.
Not that was brought to law enforcement's attention.
How long has the couple been together? What would you know?
I do not know that. I just want to amend one statement. The girls lived in that residence since 2018. Apologize.
Which family members came to visit and the girl was let out of the dog crate?
I'm sorry, I don't have that information as well.
Prosecutor, I'm sorry, I don't know if you're a parent. You had a chance to wrap your head around this. Just what is your thought as a mom seeing this? I think most of us can say this is pretty incredulous what we're reading.
100%. I am a parent. To me, this is the most abhorrent, heinous crime anyone could commit. You see criminals all over the country doing horrific, horrible acts, whether it's physical or sexual abuse. When it comes at the hands of a parent to a child, there's nothing worse.
You said you found the dogs, there was no signs of abuse. Is it safe to say she took better care of her Great Danes than she did her children?
I'm not prepared to say that at this time, but it certainly was concerning about the animals' care, again, when we heard this. Also want to just reiterate that at the time that we encountered her on this Thursday night, she's an 18-year-old adult, right? And we're not aware of any of abuse that she brought up to us as a child. So that's why when we say we referred her for domestic violence service, she's conveyed to us that she was having some kind of disagreement or threat from her father that was unable to be proven for criminal charges and whatnot. I'd also just say that we did, as part of the investigation, confirm with the Gloucester Township Public School District that they were, in fact, the parents had removed them. The school district has cooperated with us completely, and they followed all the proper procedures. But as the prosecutor said, we're very concerned about this abusive person, this type of abuse happening under the guise of homeschooling.
And what Wawa did you meet her at?
It's located at 800 Black Horse Pike in Blackwood.
Are you able to say which school she was withdrawn from prior to 7th grade?
No, I'm not. I don't believe we're able to. She was in the Gloucester Township Public School District, though.
And Chief, just to clear on the timeline, from the time, from the Thursday to Saturday, she never went back to the home.
I don't have that information. I can't say for sure whether she went back to return or not, but I don't have that information.
Do you know just what sort of motivated them to go this far with the abuse, or which of the adult figures, thought of it and sort of devised the confinement for this child?
We really don't.
And do you know if the 13-year-old was aware of the abuse of the other?
At this time, we're really not in a position to disclose that information.
Can you describe the alarm system, that if you found the alarm system, or was that just something that she had mentioned if she tried to leave that bedroom? What kind of an alarm system was it?
As I know, and correct me, the detectives that are handled it are here, as it was described to me, it was kind of like a contact alarm on the door that made some kind of audible alarm sound if the contact broke by opening the door, similar to what you would have on your own home burglar alarm system. Is that correct?
Yes. All right, guys, thanks for coming.